Alright guys, so today's video we're going to be checking out the HiFiMAN TWS800s. And what this is a pair of true wireless earbuds from the company HiFiMAN, which is generally known for more audiophile type equipment. They've mainly focused on higher end headphones, higher end IEMs, but I think a lot of these audiophile companies are realizing that true wireless earbuds are definitely taking up a large portion of the audio market. So when a company like this focuses on a pair of true wireless earbuds, you generally tend to get something that's not consumer focused. And that's really the case with this pair, not only because it does come in at $300, which already puts it up there at a very high price point, but their approach is mainly focused on audio. It's not one of those that's going to blow you away when it comes to features, which we'll talk about. It also is a little bit larger than other true wireless earbuds, but when you think about it, a lot of audiophile headphones are much larger, and that's because they're wanting to fit larger drivers inside of them. And they're also trying to give you a little bit more headspace and a little bit more of an open sound. And you can tell that that's what HiFiMAN is trying to cram into this pair of earbuds. And honestly, it's very refreshing to check out a pair like this, especially when most of the earbuds that we're reviewing are consumer friendly focused. So to start with, the impedance level that these have is 150 ohms. Now, what that normally means is if you're using a pair of wired headphones, you would usually need an amp to try to power these. You just need an amp to pull out a little bit more of the audio, but the earbuds themselves have their own built-in amps. And the other advantage to having a higher impedance level is it generally means you're going to get a fuller range out of your audio. You just have the ability to pull a little bit more of the lows, the mids, and the treble, and all of that out of your music. And so it definitely has its advantage by having such a high impedance level. Now, another thing that gives this pair an advantage is it's also using HiFiMAN's what they call a topology diaphragm. And what this is doing is it's allowing these to be kind of altered and EQ'd in a way simply based off a coding that the company is putting on the earbud. So they really are trying to fine tune these in a way to match a lot of their higher end equipment. And so again, you can tell that the focus is on audio. Now, some of the things that you do get inside the box, they do include this little drawstring pouch. And this is just to kind of keep your case from getting scratches. Now, I'm not a fan of keeping up with another pouch to keep up with my case, but for you guys that do care about not getting your case scratched, I guess it's nice that they include this inside the box. But when it comes to the ear tips, they're actually giving you 8 sets of silicone ear tips. Now, there are 3 different styles here. You do get just the single style design, but they also have a double flanged and a triple flanged design inside these ear tips. And I do want to start mainly focusing on this because if you're using earbuds, IEMs, or anything like that where you have to use ear tips, that is one of the most important things, is that you find the right fit and the right ear tip. Because I went through every single one of these that they included, and to be honest, I could never find one that I liked. I could never find one that just kind of sat in my ear the way that I wanted it to. I could never find one that just pulled the audio out the way that I wanted to. So I had to go into my basically toolbox of spin fit ear tips, and I was able to find one that fit perfectly. It made the earbuds stay in. It was just like the perfect match with these earbuds. And to be honest, that makes a huge difference. But another thing that makes a huge difference with this pair, which normally doesn't matter on a pair of true wireless earbuds, is burn-in time. It definitely recommends going somewhere between 10 to 20 hours of just letting audio play out of these. And that way it kind of loosens up the drivers a little bit. And it makes a night and day difference compared to what the sound is out of the box, compared to what the sound is after burn-in. But we'll talk about that once we get to the sound. Now, the only other thing that they include inside the box is the USB-C cable, and you will have to use that to charge these because these do not have Qi wireless charging. In fact, there's no fast charge feature on these either. But speaking of the charging, battery life again is one of those things that's not gonna blow anybody away. But with having such a high impedance level and having to actually run internal amps, it is going to kind of pull the battery life back quite a bit because you're only going to get about 4.5 hours on the earbuds themselves, with around 31.5 hours using the case. So we've definitely seen much better battery life, but again, you have to take into consideration what all these earbuds are trying to do. Now, as far as the technology in the earbuds, it does only have Bluetooth 5.0, and it only supports SBC and AAC playback. So there's no high-end Bluetooth codec playback on here, but I didn't notice any kind of compression when it came to the audio. I also did not notice any kind of lag when it came to movies or videos. But I do want to point out the range that's on these earbuds isn't as far as some of the other earbuds that I've tested. I think you're really only going to get about 30 feet from the device that you're using. And you do have to kind of be careful if you're going to be walking a distance where there's going to be walls between your earbuds and whatever you're connected to. Now, as far as using these outdoors, they do only come with an IPX4 rating, but I do want to say this, because of their larger size, this isn't a pair that I would recommend running with. This isn't a pair that I would recommend using at the gym, because I feel like when you move your head quite a bit, this type of earbud is going to be a little bit harder to keep in your ear, just mainly because of the size and the weight being a little bit more distributed on the outside. So definitely keep that in mind. I think this is more of a sit at home or more stationary style listening earbud. But moving over to checking out the actual case and the earbuds themselves, the case is on the larger side, and that's kind of for a reason. A lot of audiophiles have their own ear tips that they like to use. Some are a little bit larger than others, and the case is specifically made where you can fit any size ear tip on your earbud and it's still going to fit inside the case. So that's a huge plus if you are somebody that already has your own ear tips. But the case, you can see that it has a USB-C input on the back, and then it has 4 indicator lights that are underneath the lid. And this is what allows you to kind of see how much battery life you have on the case. And the earbuds also light up once they're in the case to let you know that they're charging. But moving over to looking at the earbuds, you can tell that they are kind of designed to look like a pair of IEMs. And again, they are a little bit on the larger side. Now, the earbuds do use touch controls, and I'm happy to say that they give you control over everything. And that is a huge plus because these don't work with an app. So with the touch controls, you have your ability to play, pause, skip your tracks forward, you can go backwards, you have volume control, you can summon your smart assistant, and it's just, again, nice that it's all right there on the earbuds. Now, as far as using these for taking phone calls, I think the mic on here is just decent. It's not going to be one of the best mics that you've heard, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here is a mic test using the TWS800s. Again, I don't really think this is anything special. I think it does at least pick up my voice cleanly, but it doesn't pick up bass tones, and it just doesn't sound as clear as other mics that I've tested. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. This is a very neutral / natural sounding earbud. Now, I don't mean neutral in a way where it just sounds flat. I don't think that that's the sound signature that these are going for, but it's not as overemphasized as, again, a lot of other consumer style earbuds. Now, the bass does have a really nice kick to it. It just feels like it's a lot more controlled. It's a lot more accurate when it comes to bass. And the treble was another thing that was pretty surprising about this pair, because I kind of expected it to have a harsh sound, and the treble does have a lot of detail to it. In fact, it can get close to the point of being bright, but it still feels like it's a little bit tamed and a little bit pulled back so that it's not trying to sound overly dynamic. Again, it kind of leans more towards sounding natural, and I think that's what they're going for. And with saying that, I feel like the mids are definitely the main focus with these earbuds, because this is some of the best that I've heard any vocalist sound. A lot of acoustic instruments just had a lot more life to them than other earbuds that I've tested, because when it came to the sound stage and the sound imaging, it felt like you were kind of in a live environment where the singer was up front and there was really good separation in the instruments and a lot of good depth as well. It just sounded like I was in a very wide open area, and being able to tell that drums were coming from this area and guitars were coming from over here, and feeling that you could just pick apart all these different layers of music, this earbud just absolutely nailed. So it really kind of boils down to what you're looking for. If you do want features, don't even look at this pair. If you are a bass head, I would also say don't even look at this pair. But if you want a fuller sound and something that just sounds more natural with a very wide open and very detailed sound, that is why you would want to pick up a pair like this. And again, I've just really enjoyed listening to my music, and it just sounds a lot different than other earbuds. But guys, that wraps up my video on the HiFiMAN TWS800s. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.